All right. What is up, nerds? What is up, Zan?
Hello, Jake. It's great to be here with you again.
It is,
as always.
Just once a week, I get to see you now during these crazy times, and I get to see you guys. It's great to be back. It's been crazy times, of course, for all of us in esports and gaming. We're going to keep telling you guys the news every single chance we get. Welcome back to the Esports Rewind, guys. You want to get this cracking?
Yeah, absolutely. But real quick, before we jump into the rest of the esports news, I just wanted to address, because I've seen a couple questions wondering, like, hey, why are you guys still doing the podcast in the middle of the current situation? And real quick, just to give you guys an update, we're very much paying attention to COVID, Corona, everything going around, and we're cleaning the desk. I come in here, I got my...
He's the only guy to clean the desk.
Got my Clorox wipes. I'm the only one who uses this mic. Jake's the only one who uses that mic. I work from home every day. Nick works from home. Isaac works from home. Whole team is at home, essentially. We're being very, very careful. And so far, cases haven't spread terribly in Vegas yet. I'm just to give you guys a little bit of extra comfort, my girlfriend is a pharmacist, and I'm getting updates from her all the time on like how things are going and what we should be doing. So we're on top of it, guys. We're staying safe. We're staying healthy. We're washing our hands. I ask you guys all to do the same.
And I see Zan once a week. So
Yes.
we are as safe as we possibly can be, guys. If we are forced to do other things to keep safe, we will do that, whether it be recording this remotely or from home. We'll keep you all posted.
Yeah.
Until now, thank you all for your concerns. Let's get her rolling. And speaking of the outbreak, Zan, we finally have stories. Last week we talked about reciprocity, other organizations maybe making a few setbacks, a few cutbacks. Unfortunately as well, the first top name out there, that's going to be Astralis, also making cutbacks.
Yeah.
Now, if you guys have not heard about this, Astralis has come forward, albeit it might be because of their IPO. I'm not sure if other esports orgs are trying to keep this stuff maybe under wraps, not fully sure. They are certainly, though, the first top-tier organization to come forward and say that some of their staff, administration, and management are taking up to 30% pay cuts. We could talk all we want about that, and I'm sure we will a little bit back and forth. The main thing I saw in the post, though, and one that actually our camera guy Pete pointed out, was a very peculiar line in that as they, during this combating of the COVID virus, they made sure to mention that management, administration, staff, and most players had voluntarily accepted a up to 30% pay cut.
Most being the key word there.
Most
for
being
those of you who weren't
most being the very, very crucial word there.
Yeah.
And it sparks a lot. First off, what are your thoughts on this? The fact that the esports org, is now making crucial cutbacks just to try and stay in business. Do you take this as a concern, as a worry, or as a cool thing that these staff are actually willing to do this to stay in the organization?
See, this is where things get a little dicey, because who knows if this was actually the staff being quote unquote willing, or told by upper management that, hey, you've got to take a 30% pay cut, or rather you have the choice to take the pay cut, or you can choose to quit, something like that.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's the situation or not. The fact that only most people have chosen to take the pay cut is like something I don't blame any of these people. Of course, because this is a time more so than anything where I think anybody who still has a steady paycheck is lucky. It is incredible blessing.
Keeping 70% is better than keeping zero, right?
Yeah.
Finding a job right now can be incredibly difficult.
It'd be rough. And I don't blame anybody for choosing to not take the pay cut at all, as we think some people very clearly probably haven't.
Yes.
But I don't know what this means for the org overall, because I think everybody's struggling right now. Obviously, every org is losing money for sure. That's just how it works. As much as orgs are already kind of struggling in certain ways, as we've discussed previously.
Esports are not profitable for a lot of organizations. This just makes it all the worse.
Yeah. It's just a magnifier onto an already bad situation.
You make a great point in terms of, obviously when it comes time for the employment or the staff who actually did take this cut, that's really, really cool if it was completely voluntary.
Yeah, 100%.
The fact you have that kind of loyalty to an esports and a gaming organization to say, hey, I'll forfeit almost a third of my check, that's super cool. There's always going to be a double edge to these kind of things.
Yeah, of course.
It does make you curious if it was forced or if it was voluntary. And the bigger note of it being which players who we already know are the far majority of the overall cost for the organization is player salaries and prize pools, which players, dare I say, and again, we don't know, so I'm not targeting anybody, had the audacity in the face of probably being approached by management saying, hey, you, we would like to cut your salary a bit because we pay you a lot, and this helps the future job security of the entire company. And that player was like, no,
I'm chilling. I like my paycheck.
I think you're going to give me 100%. It does make you curious. I don't mean to target, but I love these kind of talking points because if this was a traditional sports team, let's say this was any top NBA team, right? What if this was the Cavaliers or the Lakers, and all of a sudden you got a top player out there like LeBron comes out, and we find out that LeBron would not take a cut because the organization was struggling financially. It'd be a big talking point. So
100%. And I think it's one of those wild situations where you can't blame the players really.
I should have said thank you. I should have said that. Yes.
Yeah, because regardless, they're probably not making as much as they were previously regardless.
Because a lot of competitions are postponed and delayed as well.
So they're not getting those cuts, but
and it's a short lifetime for an esports player, right? Like you have these few, maybe
that's an excellent point.
3 to 5 years of peak, I'm making money. So why are they going to say no? Just because of a virus, I can't make as much?
No, and then because as a pro player, you only have like you said, those few years to really make your base level of money.
Yeah.
So you can survive the rest of your career. Because a lot of esports pros, this is the thing that they do.
Yeah.
And
not all of them are established on Twitch or YouTube.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Not everyone can be. So it's crazy times, man.
Wild stuff.
maybe we'll find out who the player is. We don't have to because that's going to be a forest fire.
Yeah. All right. Since we were already talking about companies affected by the Rona, let's talk about another one in GameStop.
Oh boy,
it's been a minute since we talked about them. We've talked a lot about how GameStop is kind of trying to work their way into esports. They're trying to get involved. They realize that esports is dope.
That's a good word for it, man. They're trying.
It's trying. They're trying, and I'm gonna make a hot take real quick, a bold statement. I think GameStop is dead now.
I don't even think it's bold anymore, man.
I think the virus just straight up killed them. Not and 100% their fault. Not even the virus's fault. It's GameStop's fault.
Yeah.
At this point, because
let them know what happened, man.
Yeah, it's a lot that's happened. It's such a long list. I've got
keep it to the big boy points because it's pretty brutal. If you guys have not heard.
So just a general level, obviously, a lot of non-essential businesses are being asked to close down because you don't want people just out there going to GameStop when you don't really need to.
You don't want a dude or a dudette, female or male, sitting at the cash register while dirty people of all of all kinds.
Let's just say
I was going to say dirty gamers. I didn't want to insult.
A lot of people don't wash their hands. Let's be real about that. A lot
Especially
of people
gamers.
are not sanitary. Let's be realistic, okay? And GameStop was still accepting trade-ins and stuff.
You can imagine, the one place where you exchange hand-on-hand things is a place like GameStop.
Yeah,
they bring in their grimy games that all of their friends and family
it's a tiny store by default in most locations.
Yeah.
So it's not like people have space to spread out and be stay safe on that level.
No.
And we had a great expose from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku's talking about how they just didn't have adequate protection for their staff at all. They didn't have enough hand sanitizer, not enough wipes. They were in fact, asking managers to just go out and find that stuff themselves and being like, hey, yeah, we don't have it, but if you want to go get it, then that's great. Bring it into the store. Maybe we'll reimburse you. And we've seen a lot of stuff like that kind of come out over the past couple weeks as GameStop very specifically was asked to close down by many governments. And they were like, nah, we kind of consider ourselves essential, which is nuts because you can download games digitally. GameStop is in no way
GameStop has not
essential.
Been essential for years.
Yeah, right. And they were it was at such a level where they were telling their employees, they're giving them instructions of, hey, the cops are probably going to come to the store to try and get you guys to close down because we're not supposed to be open. So here's how you handle that. Here's how you resist the cops trying to close down your non-essential store. Right?
Yes.
And it got so bad that, in fact, the governor of Pennsylvania revoked their business license altogether for the state. They were like, you're not a business anymore. And they're like, you're done. You're out. Be gone.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
because we already knew GameStop was struggling. We go back to the first time we mentioned GameStop on the podcast was actually the time they were transitioning over with Complexity.
Right, yeah.
And remember their Complexity brand new
with
HQ.
the Complexity, the GameStop Performance
They
Center.
had a built-in Performance Center by GameStop. And then we were also going to talk about, not sure if we did, they redid all their stores, right? A new format to introduce.
No, they're not quite done with that yet, but they're working on it.
Were they?
Yeah.
Did any stores actually come out with that new model?
They had a couple like test
A couple
stores.
showcase stores.
Yeah, but nothing like broad. I think they were planning on rolling that out at the end of this year.
It was
start of
weird,
next year.
but it was needed because their stock has been tanking for a long time now.
Yeah.
And then all of that leads to this, where we already knew they were tanking, they were already on the decline, and now you come out with this. Part of me wants to understand where they're coming from because their backs were already so much against the wall. If they do not have any stores open with any employees in them, they're done. If they try and do what they tried to do,
this literally
they're done.
Worst.
So,
it's the worst PR thing ever.
I don't
ever.
Dare I say this, Sam?
Yeah.
I don't think there was a way once this outbreak began that GameStop came out of it alive.
I think they could have. I think because GameStop actually revamped their website a little bit ago, and they've got a pretty decent web portal. Like you can buy game downloads from their website. You can buy like games from the site.
Yeah, but the problem is
everything
I
has
didn't
it
know
shipped
that
to
until
you.
you just said it.
Exactly, which I'm not saying they're doing an excellent job letting people know about that.
Yeah.
Heck, I didn't know until I like just happened to stumble across the site one day, like looking for some like a cheap game.
Yeah.
But like it's nuts. They've already announced they're closing 300 stores right now. Done. Just gone.
You know how rich you would be if a few years back you would have started shorting this stuff? And you could have been late to the party, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You could short this all the way to zero. It's going to, yeah.
Speaking of being late to the party, Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo just joined the GameStop board of directors like a couple weeks ago.
Right on time.
Yeah, right. Perfect time to get involved with this amazing company that's doing great things and so profitable.
Yeah, he's going to get bought out of that for.
He's probably in calls like all day, like, "Hey guys, so
you want to pay me $6 million to bail me out?"
Oh yeah. It's just so rough, and it is kind of unfortunate because GameStop has been like it's been a staple of gaming life.
Yeah,
overall.
it's certainly been a staple. It's just been a widely declining staple.
Yeah, it was great to see them getting involved in esports stuff a little bit more, and their plans for future stores actually sounded kind of cool. For those who may not be familiar, they were kind of like talking about turning GameStop locations into more like community centers where people could just come and play games together, you know, and have it be like a fun chill time.
Definitely not the best model now.
Yeah, kind of rough to have
that
a
model went out of date real
session
fast.
in person, you know.
Yeah, during Corona.
yeah, right. So we'll see what happens, but at current, it's looking like GameStop is donezo.
It's looking like 20. All right, let's make it short, sweet, simple. There was a call last week. There wasn't actually a call. It was a tweet by a guy known as TSM Zexro, a few other pro players tweeting about this. That being the call to make Fortnite competitive 18 years and older. And we've talked a lot, Zan. We've talked extensively about the problems and issues. Just hear me out, okay? I'm not saying I'm for it, but we have talked long and hard about the issues underlying in Epic Games and the way they run Fortnite competitively. This all actually happened after, and it wasn't a serious call. Zexro's a troll. He likes to joke around, and I understand that. But certainly has a few good points, I would say, behind if there was a legitimate argument for this, which is not legitimate. It's just a talking point.
Yeah.
We've seen so many cheaters. The way that Epic Games runs this esport integrity-wise.
More than in any game ever, as far as I can tell.
Like legitimate pro cheaters?
Yeah.
In a short span.
At that high level, just like back to back to back to back.
It's not even been 3 years, and we have seen a couple handfuls of pro players actually cheat at prize pooled events, and anywhere from no ban to maybe no ban to 2-week bans, 30-day bans, 60-day bans, and then 1 lifetime ban for a kid who aimbotted in a pug.
Epic is excellent at slapping wrists. They're very good at that. They're like,
dude, they don't even slap sometimes. Sometimes they just don't. No. There's not even anything.
They bring the hand down and then they give it a pat on the wrist.
Like
they give you the touch, like, you know.
Made you flinch. Like, no, it's so weird. It's gotten to the point where people are actually talking about Epic Games having golden boys like Unknown Army or Mongrel and Benji. My goodness.
Yeah.
These top tier players who can get away with anything because they've had accusations and actual clips out there, like formidable evidence around them. And Epic Games just goes, every month or so we'll step back in and maybe ban somebody, but it's not going to be those guys.
Yeah, they're very much like Twitch in that respect.
Oh, yeah. They just, super subjective.
They just come through on occasion and they're like, I mean.
We're here.
Yeah, well, I know technically, sure, maybe you cheated. maybe it could have hurt a lot of other people, but I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. You bring us in money, so who cares?
Yeah, it's so the argument, right? 18 plus. I don't necessarily think my main point of this, obviously, again, it's a joke, it's a talking point. When it comes to 18 plus, do I think it should be? No. Would I mind most esports being 16 plus? I think that would be
16
most
plus
are. Most
kind of reasonable.
When it came to Epic Games, when they actually introduced their new 13 plus, that's a pretty big rarity, and I think most esports is not that young.
Right.
And we've certainly seen a slew of issues, and especially when it comes time for all the stream sniping, all the teaming, including that we probably have not caught. It's tough, right? Like, do you blame a 13 to 16-year-old for doing this?
I mean, I kind of don't, but at the same time, I feel like by that point in time of your life, I mean, heck, at 13 to 16, Zan, I would definitely not be cheating in a professional event.
I don't know, because we aren't pros, though. If I was 13 and I was money hungry like I was when I was 13, I think I'm doing it.
Yeah, I remember being in so many like kind of similar situations in terms of where I could have made money if I did something a little shady. But I was
okay. Well, we're the prime examples of some 13-year-olds are smarter than other 13-year-olds. I guess my main argument being it does not all fall on them. Certainly a lot of it.
Oh yeah, not 100%.
Epic Games.
Absolutely, Epic. I think a lot of this is probably happening because, I mean, all these pro players have definitely seen all these other people cheat
and get away with it.
Yeah, see literally no repercussions. Like they've seen evidence, like clear proof that you can cheat and be totally fine.
Yeah.
Like imagine just on a pure cost benefit level, think, oh, I could make $50,000 if I cheated, but I might get suspended for a week, maybe.
Maybe. That's if they catch me. Even if they catch me, they might not do it.
Yeah, right? Like I will that's a rough decision to weigh.
It's tough to look a 13 to 18-year-old in the eyes and say, don't do it. You're not going to get punished, but don't do it. So I understand. It's so wild we're talking about this because any other esport, if you do it and you get caught, you're done.
It would just be a done deal. Like I think, and I can probably count on like maybe one hand, like all the other huge people who have gotten caught cheating in other esports, and like none of them do it again.
Yeah, because usually they're still banned, or it's for years and years and years.
Or it's like such a big mark on their record that they can't like come back from it.
Like, dude, I Buy Power for CS:GO was such a big match fixing scandal. Take out the Asian scene, everyone else in the world saw I Buy Power get banned for life.
Right.
And we have not seen an American or European or top region do it ever since.
Yeah, it just stops.
At least to our knowledge. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's important that people know you just can't cheat.
Yeah,
not just that you shouldn't, but you can't.
You can't just make the wrist flinch.
Exactly.
Sometimes you gotta take the head off.
Companies like this 100% need to just be like, be gone.
Yeah, and
we just set the example.
And then it's so weird because they take the head off with a guy like Jarvis, which does nothing for the competitive scene.
Right,
like it's not a competitive.
Like that. Yeah, that was such like they swung so heavy on.
It's like they swung at Bongrel. Oh god, I'm like It's like they swung at Benji and Mongrel, missed, went over their heads, landed right on Jarvis.
Oh yeah, 100%, like a pinata, like eyes blindfolded, just like out here, just swinging around with the bat, just like who
are we gonna get? Jarvis.
Accidentally clips Jarvis on the shoulder.
God dang it, I hate myself.
Yeah, it's just
should Fortnite be 18 plus? No. Is it all the players' faults?
No. Does Epic need to do something a little bit more?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about drama involving Fortnite, Epic Games, and this is a perfect time to kind of touch on the controller aim assist debate. Because this is something that I think we can just speak generally about, because a lot of professional games have this debate of whether or not controllers should have aim assist, whether or not controllers should be allowed in general.
Yep.
Like I kind of feel a specific way about this myself, but I'd like to hear your general thoughts on what do you think? Should aim assist be allowed? Should controllers be allowed in competitive events? Should they be allowed in games in general? Where are you coming from, my guy?
It's such a loaded question.
Exactly, it is.
Because every game is so different. And even if a game does have cross-plat, even those cross-plat games act so differently. And I'm not sure we have seen an example so far actually make it work even near perfection, especially because the one I was going to say is Fortnite, but we've seen, especially over the past year, the increasing amount of pro players and I would say even top-tier competitive players complain about how bad aim assist is. And if you want to look towards another example that it might work out in is maybe a game like Call of Duty, but they don't have mouse and keyboard pros. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm going to bail out.
So weird.
I'm going to bail out on this one. I'm going to take Shroud stance. Albeit for the future of esports, I would love for cross-plat mouse and keyboard controller players to play all in a single game and make it work somehow. I don't think there's ever going to be, at least in the near future, a perfect competitive balance. I'm going to take Shroud's angle and say that games can be cross-plat for casual, but when it comes to top-tier competitive or actual prize-pooled events, controller players simply cannot play alongside mouse and keyboard.
See, I kind of half agree with you on that front.
All right, if you're going to half agree, I win.
I 100% think like any event that wants to say, hey, this is a mouse and keyboard event, hey, don't blame you, 100% makes sense, right? Or they want to say, hey, this is a controller, I'm like, yeah, by all means, right? It's a very different, there's different advantages to both, right? But as someone from the FGC, I brought, it's show and tell day, my guy. It is, I brought a prop to the podcast this
is
week.
like kindergarten, dude. I feel like I feel nervous because I remember the kindergarten days where you'd have to bring an item in and like
you gotta show it to everybody. Like,
show and tell.
Show and tell. It's show and tell day, my guy.
I actually forgot show and tell was a thing.
Okay, so the thing is with fighting games, right? What I just brought out on the desk for our audio listeners is my arcade stick. It's a custom hitbox.
Arcade stick. It's not a stick.
Yeah. So basically, what it does is on a normal arcade stick for fighting games, it's normally like a joystick where these red buttons are. But on mine, it's just purely buttons because it just works a little bit better for me. It's how I prefer to play, right? And technically speaking, there is a slight advantage to using something like this because I can plink out like a fireball motion on this thing. 3 frames, easy.
As compared to
as opposed to like actually having to do the full motion, it's a lot easier to just like hit those two like
If you guys can't see, he's nailing it in 3 frames. He's nailing a combination that other players could not on controllers.
And they can't. It's a little obviously if you're good enough you can do it, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
The one thing you can't do on a standard controller is I can hold both back to block and forward at the same time here. You can't do that with a joystick at all because it moves one direction at the same time. You can't move back and forwards at the same time.
And I think you are making a point that can be generalized to not just FGC, but to a lot of games like Fortnite.
Yeah, exactly.
When you have access to more keys, more binds, whatever it might be, there are going to be a lot more advantages. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of people would agree that mouse and keys overall has the advantage compared to controller.
Yeah. Personally, I made the switch to gaming on a PC like a couple months back, and it's night and day, I would say, personally, in terms of just accuracy level, right? And the reason I bring up custom arcade sticks like this is that these are allowed in every competitive fighting game event. Anybody can bring in whatever they want to compete with. People show up with literally there's a homeboy who shows up with a Guitar Hero guitar and just reprograms it to work with fighting games, and that's totally allowed. Because at the end of the day, on a competitive level, it's all about your choice. If you're good at the game, if you're good at the freaking game, you're good at the fundamentals, you know what you're doing, you should be able to succeed regardless of whatever input method you're using. And if you feel that one input method gives you an advantage over another, just switch.
That's the sucky part, though.
Yeah.
I understand your argument, but that's the sucky part when you have already such an established scene for so many games. You're not going to ask a guy like Scump to go from controller. And if you think mouse and keyboard is good, Scump, switch. He's so late in his he's years and years down the line. If you want people to switch, they got to be 12, 13 to 16 years old. If you want to really switch and actually become that level of after switching. We have it rare in Fortnite where people can actually switch because they are so young. But there's such an established esports player base that's over 20 years old that they're not going to switch. It's just not viable.
In a lot of ways, I think it actually is viable because we've seen top FGC pros switch to entirely different input methods and succeed and dominate and kill it. Like Sonic Fox, for example, he plays on a PlayStation controller a lot of the times, just straight up default, just chilling, right? And totally fine.
But we haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah, we haven't. But I think that's just a matter of people in other
most
spaces.
Games don't offer it.
Yeah, it's just because they don't think about it. I just think it's not something that people are used to in other esports scenes. And I have 100% faith in Scump. Just as an example, if he ever wanted to make the switch to mouse and keyboard, I think he could do it.
But even right now, he wouldn't be allowed to as well. The scene doesn't provide for it.
Yeah,
I think I think to a certain degree you could be right, and that'd be cool to see. I think the only games we're going to be able to ever see this in the near future, FGC, Rocket League, and Fortnite, because they all currently allow for that to happen.
Right.
When you have games like CSGO, League of Legends, COD, they're not cross-plat. You're just not going to – I would love for all of them to open their doors, but I just don't know if that's the way the scene's going to develop, you know?
Yeah, probably not. I don't think it's going to make that move, but I think it probably should. I think it's just good for everybody if we're realistic about, like, hey, stop being salty about this thing that's actually kind of a non-issue. You know, I mean, I get it sucks, and you probably want to blame somebody or some reason for, like, a kill that you think you shouldn't have, like, you know, gotten, or a death that you should think that wasn't deserved. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think it all comes down to your individual skill. And playing on this, I've never gotten anybody, like, as much as an advantage as it gives me. If I run into a better player, they're going to beat me. Yeah. I've never gone to an event and have anybody like talk shit about my controller. You know, everybody's just fine. It's, you know,
I think people love having something to blame.
Exactly.
And there's always going to be that, myself included.
Yeah, there's always going to be a scapegoat.
Like, I will blame 100%. Controller players. I will do that, because I'm not willing to make the switch to controller, because I don't know. There's a lot of angles to go on this. Yeah. I think there will definitely be esports where we're going to see this transition more, where it is allowed. But there's going to be so many hard set esports that just don't have cross-plat, where we're going to continue to see the one-sided people. Yeah. And those pros will continue to actually complain about the opposite side.
Definitely don't blame that. Just, you know, I just feel like it's an interesting thought process to think about. Like,
there's just so many angles, man.
The option is here. Let's be a little bit more open about stuff.
Yeah, let's wait the next few years. Let's see how many pro players start switching back and forth. All right, this is going to be nuts. Come back next week, guys. We're going to do a comparison of what we're doing now, that being pre-impressions for Valorant. Next week, we'll cover our first impression. Zan, you want to tell the viewers what we got?
Yeah, boy. Yo, I'm super hyped. I've been talking to Riot Games, and we got access to the beta. Let's go. Making it happen.
I bet a few of you guys did too, though. But, like, we did too. So, like, what's up?
We got press access, though. Yeah. So, you know, litty. So, well, you can expect to hear, like, more, like, actual, we're going to get our hands on the game. The whole team's going to play together a little bit.
I'm freaking back.
Yeah,
sorry.
So, you know, we'll know exactly what the game is actually like by next Tuesday when the game drops. As many of you know, the podcast is pre-recorded. But real quick, we wanted to give you guys our impressions before we actually play the games ourselves.
Let's get serious, Zan. This is nuts.
Oh, 100%.
I don't...
This is the wildest video game hype period ever. For no reason. Like, it's different for something like Final Fantasy VII, where that is a highly beloved game. Everybody already knows it's a phenomenal game, and people are getting excited about that.
When it comes to directly, like, esports related, and, like,
and most people haven't played it, really.
Yeah, this is... I don't know if we're going to see this again for a long, long time, and I wish people understood how big this is going to be. We can even stretch back to, like, Apex Legends, Fortnite, now Warzone. I'm sure I definitely missed big titles in between there. The rise of so many games out there that are growing so fast. And now we have Valorant. I've never seen this kind of hype.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Apex Legends came out of nowhere. It dropped out of nowhere, and of course it spiked because it was like, whoa, Fortnite killer.
Great game.
Fortnite before then was just the world's biggest game. No one's denying it. And now we have Valorant, which is trying to beat that out. Dude, I've never seen this before. Like, we see pros already ditching their main esports, retiring from their esports to try. We see people signed as pro players before the game's even here.
I really just on a professional level, right? Like, I'm so like, I've been in chat. I've been angry about this, actually. Like, straight up, like, last night even, I spent like 20 minutes like talking to my mom about how mad I was about how people are getting so hyped about Valorant for no reason.
It's astonishing the things people will say when the game's not even here.
Yeah. And, like, the stuff that just doesn't make any sense. Like, I've seen comparisons of the music in Valorant to the music in Persona, and I'm like, that's just not, they're two so different games.
And we've already seen...
They're so separate.
We've seen people saying that agents are not overpowered. Agents are going to be overpowered. Everyone has their own opinions. We have all these top streamers that are already going to be doing Twitch streams. At the point of you guys watching this, we already have Twitch drops for the game. I mean, this push, not to mention the fact that it's backed by Riot Games, already operating the world's #1 esport, but also Tencent.
Big money. Tencent, has been a minute since we talked about them, but everybody keep in mind, Tencent is the biggest video game company in the world, period.
I mean, borderline monopoly type things. Everything they touch usually succeeds.
Turns to gold.
And then add on top of that the connections that Riot's already making with Twitch to push this as their choice of platform for Twitch drops and connecting your Riot account to that. All the names they have tied to this. I mean, guys, there was a literal conspiracy theory that people thought because there were so many tweets about people hyping up the game that they were all paid. They weren't.
Yeah,
but
probably,
the fact that the theory was probably, but the fact that that's out there. I mean.
Well, yeah, and I don't blame people for thinking those people might have been paid because the way people talk about this video game, it's like they've never played a video game before in their lives.
True.
It's like they went from playing Pong to all of a sudden Valorant drops and they're like, whoa.
And I have not seen anything that I'm like.
Best thing ever.
I have not seen anything groundbreaking. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's what I've said in chat. I think this will be a very solid, great tactical shooter, right? But it's not going to light the world on fire. It's not doing anything super special, actually, at the end of the day, I don't
Not
believe.
yet, Zen.
We don't know. We don't know. But, I mean, with any other game company, and to be fair, this is Riot, and this is really their first other, different game that they're dropping like this. So we don't know what their hype period is like. But any other game, we'd already know, this game has, a dynamic music system or, some kind of special gun sound stuff or there's so many details we'd have already if it had something special like that going on.
I just think I would love to try and go back and sense the environment and the community, what they felt when League of Legends first was announced and came out.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
Obviously, totally different time. It would not be near this hype. And so my excitement comes from the fact that if League of Legends or CSGO or another top game out there at its very, very roots can grow to what it is today, I look 10 years from now what Valorant can be with the backing they have.
Oh, 100%.
And could it be the next League of Legends? Could it be the next CSGO? And that's what everyone's eyes are towards. That is everyone is trying to hype it up to that level. And so we're going to see it either fail all expectations by a long shot or
I don't think it can possibly live up to expectations with the way people are hyping it up.
But I also don't think it can fail at this point.
No, yeah, I don't think this game, no way in heck it fails. This game is going to do amazingly. It's going to do big numbers.
You think so?
Yeah, I would put money on that. I would say, and like I said, because I think it's going to just be a base level. It's going to be a solid game.
Yeah.
It's just not going to be, this is no situation like with, like with Devil May Cry 5 or something, right? Where the game director says, hey, this game is going to exceed all of your expectations, and the game actually lives up to that. This is not that game.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game, I think, but calm down. It's a video game.
But yeah.
I think it's going to be a solid 8 out of 10.
Wait, I'm not going to ask you other game rankings. I'm going to...
Oh, you want my list? You want Zan's list for 2020?
No. Come back next week, guys. We will do our first impressions of Valorant. The hype is certainly there. The belief by many is there. We will see if it can actually live up to all of that. All right. Thank you all for watching the Esports Rewind. Zan, give him that.
I know what you're getting at, my guy. No worries. I've got it from here.
You're tired. I'm tired.
We're both it's been a long work day.
We've talked a lot.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
You know what? I'm going to go first. Thank you all for watching. If you guys want to check out our YouTube channel, if you're listening to the audio version or vice versa on the Prediction Podcast, you know what? You do it.
Okay. I appreciate the intent. I hope you can both tell how much energy we're trying to put into this for you guys and how dedicated we're trying to be here for you. But, it is what it is. So, as always, if you would like to listen to the Esports Rewind podcast on the go, you can find us on the Prediction Esports Talk Show Network right here on the desk. That's PREEDICTION. And, we're on iTunes and Spotify, and we very much appreciate all of our audio listeners out there who have given the podcast a go. Like Jake said, or tried to say, you can find us on YouTube at Esports Talk. Catch us there posting daily esports news back to back, pushing content out there like crazy. We're right around the corner from hitting 100K, so thank you all for, all the support and the love. Really and truly, it does mean so much to us. It's amazing how far we've been able to come, thanks to you guys. As always, you can also hit us up on Twitter at talk_esports or on Instagram at esports_talk. And anything else you'd like to share with the good people, Jakey boy?
Thank you for all watching. You good-looking people. We'll see you all back here same time next week on the Esports Rewind podcast. And until then, stay. All right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Jake has had too much Red Bull and coffee. You know, he's doing his standard combo where he drinks both at the same time, which is literally insane.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.